there is still a voice crying out through the vista of time saying, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, pray for them that despitefully use you. Another thing the nonviolent resistor does not seek to humiliate or defeat the opponent, but to win his friendship and understanding. This was always a cry that we had to set before people, that our aim is not to defeat the white community, not to humiliate the white community, but to win the friendship of all the persons who had perpetrated this system in the past. The end of violence, or the aftermath of violence, is bitterness. The aftermath of nonviolence is reconciliation. And here's what we're going to talk about: the creation of a beloved community. Another basic thing we had to get over is that nonviolent resistance is also an internal matter. It not only avoids external violence or external physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. And so at the center of our movement stood the philosophy of love, the attitude that the only way to ultimately change humanity and to make for the society that we all long for is to keep love at the center of our lives. Then a week or so later, I had the gift of experiencing the beloved community right in our town. My daughter had woken up with the preschool tummy bug, and I ever so hopefully thought that she was better around lunchtime. And we went out to Old Firehouse Books and Happy Lucky Tea House, and by the grace of God herself, we went just that little bit further to Happy Lucky's first, so that we were outside when Evie ever so gracefully threw up all over the sidewalk outside. And I kid you not, 4 came running to help us clean up. I was astounded. I expected to be gently shunned because throw up is gross and contagious, universally avoided. And one sweet helper was Jess from Commonplace, and 3 people I didn't know. They brought paper towels, wipes, buckets of water, understanding, comforting words. It was freaking beautiful. 2 stories, the both and of life. I am a person who tried to cancel a friend, but beloved community stopped me. I am also a person who witnesses and desperately hopes for beloved community and found it in Old Town, next to a puddle of vomit and mom guilt. Beloved community isn't a sweet, starry-eyed, irritatingly optimistic outlook on life. Practicing beloved community can get you killed. Dr. King knew that, and we see it happening still today. The last part of Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote mentions internal violence of spirit. As we practice and hope for beloved community around us, we must also practice beloved community within ourselves. Bringing love into our own hearts brings healing, empathy, and change. So as you go out this spring break week, how can you join into the beloved community already at work around you and within you?
Perfect submission, and all is at rest. Savior, and happy and blessed. Wash away, looking above. My life, a love song to you. Is that how we do that? Yeah. My life. Say my life. My life, a love song to you. Amen. I know it's a little cheesy, but I was feeling it. So it's beautiful. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. I think we need to take a moment to notice the art. We have this stray cat we've been feeding for going on 3 years. And once in a while he'll come around. He'll be missing for a few days and then he'll come around. And he's missing part of his fur somewhere. This time it's on his cheek. And we're just doing our little part. We're resisting cat hate. There's so many cats. But Katrina chose this art, at least in large part, because today we're reading a miracle story from the Bible, from the Gospels. It's one of Jesus' feeding miracles, which are my personal favorite. A miraculous feeding, but they'll be hungry again, won't they? So each week we're choosing a resistance. What's something that's coming, that's like kind of in the air? What's in the air that we need to pay attention to and make small resistances. And so, do you remember what we've done so far? What was last week? Resist power over and embrace power with. This week is resist scarcity thinking. Embrace living. Embrace life. Embrace abundance. Back in 2019, I met a young woman. At the time, she was 24 years old. Her name is Abby, and she's Chinese, and she's blind. And she was born in and raised in an orphanage in Mongolia. The first, I think, 14 years of her life. And somehow she ended up coming to the United States and being adopted by these people here. And I met her sometime into that. And I heard her whole story, and she suffered a lot. I mean, whoa. And I don't know why, but I asked her, I don't remember why, but I said, Abby, what do you think life's for? What do you think is the meaning of life? And she didn't hesitate, but she's like shrugged her shoulders and said, to live it. Live your life. And one of the ways that we live our lives is by resisting scarcity thinking. Now, sometimes people think that I'm perfect because I'm a pastor, and I understand why you would think that. But seriously, I think some people think so I think people might think that I've learned some tricks, and so I get to skip or like work around some stuff. Or maybe because I'm in this context, I just have so much more access to ways and so many more teachers and stuff. But I'll tell you what, I struggle with scarcity thinking. And when we think about scarcity thinking, there is scarcity, right? There's scarcity of resources for some people. There's scarcity of access to education or water for some people. And that scarcity we need to pay attention to and address where we have the opportunity. But scarcity thinking is different. The scarcity mindset doesn't allow, I'm going to read you something from Men's Health magazine. Oh, by the way, what I was going to say is, I've been a regular preaching pastor for the last, I wasn't a preaching pastor the first few years of my vocational work as a pastor. But since 2000, so 20 years, I've been preaching every Sunday. And I didn't say any words. I just faked. And many of those Sundays, I've gone to bed on Saturday night because of my personality and stuff, not really knowing about tomorrow and not actually having finished my sermon. I always finish my sermons on Sundays. And so a lot of time, and so many Saturday nights, but I go to bed nervous, anxious, because there's something about feeling like a sermon is never finished. I can compare that to what I've heard painters or different artists say, you're never done. And I feel that way about sermons too. But so when we lined up the series, I saw that I was going to be doing the Sunday Resisting Scarcity. And so the last 2 weeks, I've been having scarcity thinking about my sermon on resisting scarcity thinking. Because, it's been 20 years. I'm 60 years old, but I still feel like I'm not enough. I feel inadequate. The subjects are too weighty. I thought, what do I have? I'm supposed to have something impressive and inspiring and all that. So it seems like I'm not ever going to get over that. That alas, at 60 years old, I am still me. Do you struggle with scarcity thinking? Do you struggle with feeling like you'll not be enough? That there won't be enough? Erica Sweeney wrote in Men's Health, and I just quote from this. She was writing about scarcity thinking. And I came across this piece that she wrote. Thanks, Erica. Quoting Erica now. Do you feel like there's never enough time, money, opportunities, or fill in the blank? Are you always scrambling to wrap up your to-do list or struggling to make decisions? Do you rarely say no when someone asks you to do something? Therapists actually have a term for this kind of thinking: scarcity mindset. The scarcity mindset doesn't allow much grace for oneself. Why are you hitting yourself? Stop hitting yourself. Says Jordan Bierbrower, a therapist with ThriveWorks who specializes in anxiety, stress, and conflict. He goes on, someone with a scarcity mindset may be thinking that everything that is needed for a bright and secure future is becoming scarce. Why some people develop a scarcity mindset and others who face identical circumstances don't is unclear, says Katarina Arger, clinical director at Alter Behavioral Health. At some point, many of us have ruminated about what could be improved in our life if we had A, B, or C, Arger says. However, if the absence of what you have or want becomes the focus of your thoughts every day, this can start to take over your life. A scarcity mindset riles up lots of emotions: guilt, anger, envy, annoyance, even hopelessness. Those things can bleed into our relationships and take a general toll on our mental health, says Bierbrower. There's also a whole self-fulfilling prophecy to it all. You're so fixated on feeling like you're not enough, there's not enough, you don't have enough of what you need, that you become paralyzed. You can't move forward in life. And this is where I've found myself time to time. Paralyzed. And for some stupid reason, I keep thinking that the whole world rests on this next thing that I have to do perfect, and I don't have what it takes. In his book, Scarcity Brain, Michael Easter writes that the reaction to scarcity isn't new. But, listen to this, you guys, an ancient behavior system that evolved naturally in the human mind to help our ancestors survive, because you had to win and you had to stay undefeated or you were dead. How many of you deal with that, where you feel like, you may not put it that way, but moving through life, encounters, expectations, projects, and we feel what? Like we don't have enough. It's not your fault. But how many times do we feel like we have to win? How many conversations do we have where we were like entering into it and we didn't articulate it, but it's like, what's this guy got that I don't got? What do I need to show? What's my strength? Does my strength match up with his strength? It's not your fault. We were made this way. And we're all in this together. And there's room for all kinds of neurosis, all kinds of... I think I might be a soft narcissist, actually. Because I do seem to think that the world is depending on my next sermon. Empire runs on stories like, there isn't enough. Someone is taking what's yours. Protect what you have. Grab before someone else does. Empire tells us, with me, you'll have enough. With them, you won't. Empire tells us, even in our theology, there are empire stories. I was raised to believe that most people were going to go to hell when they died, even the good ones. That's some ultimate theological scarcity thinking crap right there, to carry that around with you from the time you're 4 years old. So, give yourself a break. We're breathing it. We're swimming in it. But we can resist it. Here's a story. Now, this story is I don't know that it's so much about resistance thinking. I think we can distill that from it. But this story is in the New Testament 6 times, more than any other of the gospel stories, those, the episodes of Jesus' life. This is the one that shows up the most. It shows up 6 times in in a couple of the gospels. It shows up twice as a story of 5,000, as a story of 4,000. Maybe they're different stories, maybe they're not. But why is this story in here so much? And I have a thought on that. But first I want to read you the story. This story is called, What Do You Have? The apostles, it's from Mark chapter 6, verse 30. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going, they did not even have a chance to eat. And he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away. That's love. That's beloved community, isn't it? Jesus being the beloved community. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place, but many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, see, that's where scarcity thinking would start coming in for me. It's like, I want the church to grow, but not too much. Just stay exactly the same. He had compassion on them. So, I feel guilty already. Because I am not always moved to compassion. When was it? I resist compassion sometimes. But he's moved toward compassion, Jesus, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time, it was late in the day. So his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said. "And it's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "That would take more than half a year's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat?" "How many loaves do you have?" he asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. And these fish are starting to get a little... Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and 50s, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. And where does your mind go when we imagine that? Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. I like to get full. I used to eat till I got full. How much do you eat to get satisfied? Full is what I want. Satisfied is what I need. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish, The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. The number of the men, what do you notice about that sentence? The number of men who had eaten was 5,000. Anybody, what do you know? Resist the patriarchy. Ladies, I'm not gonna, but you may, and I think it'll be good for all of us. But they, five, so there were many more than that. This is a funny story because it feels like Jesus is trying to be a little funny. In the Gospel of John, there's a version of a miracle feeding, and it's a little boy. They say there's just this little boy who has some fish and bread. But in John, it says that Jesus, it was Andrew, I think, who came to him which is pretty. I think Andrew was resisting scarcity by bringing the boy, because it's like, what? Eat your food, share with your family. What do you think? What do you think? Jesus does miracles? What do you think? You think Jesus does miracles? You think that it was just magic? What was it? Or did he miraculously satisfy them? Have you ever been so satisfied that you forgot to eat? Have you ever been so into something? Like it went way beyond what the immediacy of it was? It's all a test, Jesus said. Or the writer says. Jesus was saying this to test him. I get hung up on these stories and think, I don't see the miracles. I don't see magic. Because this feels like magic. But miracle. So I wonder, is this story in here 6 times to just pound it in our head that if you ever need a miracle, you're going to get one? Could be. You want to repair the world? And it feels too big? Start with repairing the faucet in your wife's bathroom sink. Of course I don't mean the faucet. Of course I mean her heart. Start there. Start with what you have. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. That's how we learn that. It's also been translated. This is Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I have everything I need. I have all I need. I love that. The question in The Power of Now that Eckhart Tolle asks himself and his questioners, what is it that you don't have right now that you need? What I want is to be comfortable now and assured of my comfort on into the future. What I have is anxiety on Saturday night and Sunday morning. I put it out and I say, I leave a paper for you, Lord. What writing utensil do you prefer, Holy Spirit? I'm going to bed. I have all I need. Embrace what you have. Tell the truth. Reach down in the bottom of your purse and find that crinkled dollar bill and that old Jolly Rancher and share it. Because it's so cool when people share their crap. as if it were treasures. We bring our broken pieces, and they are treasures. Embrace what you have and tell the truth. The truth is, you are not enough, and neither am I. And the truth is, we are enough. Praise the Lord. It's okay that you struggle with scarcity thinking. Your ancestors, if they hadn't, you wouldn't be here. For some stupid reason, we were designed with limits. Remember the garden? The loving gardener says, look at it. Look at it. Eat. Enjoy. Eat it by all means. Eat to your satisfaction. But don't eat that. And that's pretty funny too, that the gardener points it out. But limitations are not scarcity. Limitations, when we give up our performative inadequacy, limitations are the door into each other's lives and hearts and healing of this one, then this one. Then it comes back to you like bread cast on the water. And we share with our own broken bread that comes back to us. Have you ever had that happen? I remember when you made room for me and you told me this. It makes room for more people to look. What do I have in my bag? You know, that's what they say for basketball players, like for their game, like shooting, dribbling, footwork, they call it their bag, like they reach into their bag. What do you have in your bag? What's your superpower? What's your brokenness? It's probably the same thing. Pass it on. Make room for more, and it will become bigger. Will you share? Will you stand for our last song? I want to reflect back for just a moment on a couple things. You may be seated. We're going to wrap up, but you don't need to stand. When Kim was talking about the vomit, and then there were people coming from seemingly everywhere to help. What a picture. And then we sang the song that said, that old hymn, Blessed Assurance, but the line in it, what line do you think really, I really noticed after that story was angels descending? Because I just can't get out of my head how we're all called to be messengers of love and of God, and that's what an angel is. So, thank you, Kim. And thank you. Your angels descending into this place today because I need you more than you need me. I promise you that. You saved my life over and over again. So, thanks for that. I like living. Okay, so as we wrap up, there's a couple questions. These will be our questions for our small groups that are meeting during this series as well. And the first question is, where do you experience scarcity thinking most acutely? Now, I've told you some things about myself where I experience it. And I don't want to tell you because then you'll feel sorry for me and treat me like a baby. But I kind of want that too. So, but where do you experience scarcity of thinking most acutely? Is that the entry point for your broken bread to be passed or to receive someone else's broken bread? And then the second question is, again, for now and for our small groups, is what do you have? And just pay attention to that. Like when I want to resist the encounter or the thing or the responsibility, it's like to just rest into that and remind myself again that the universe is not resting on the next decision I make or the next word I speak, but that I have something. I have something. And you have something. So what do you have in your bag? All right. That's going to be a wrap-up for us today. Thank you to our musicians, Aaron, for your help with our breathing exercise as well on short notice. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kim, for confession and inspiration today. Thank you to Morgan and Chris up in the sound and media. I know there have been a couple challenges up there even this morning, so thanks for keeping a cool head and not throwing a fit and doing your best. Thank you to Abby and Joel and Tina, who are upstairs right now loving our kids through story, art, and play. If you do have a little one up there, please make haste to pick them up so those folks can get on with their day as well. We like to hang out 10 minutes. We like to hang out at the beginning. Also, there time and space to hang out and see each other, be with each other a little while longer. But thank you for being here. If you want to know what's going on here, sign up for the weekly guide, thecommonplacechurch.com. If you want to support what we're doing here, there's a couple of paint cans out there, and you can also go to thecommonplacechurch.com/donate. Thanks for your faithfulness to that. And if you can't give, it's okay. It's okay if you can't give money, because we all got something to give. Would you stand, and let's have the people. Oh, that's right. If you turn around, you can't read. All right, let's just split down the middle and turn and face each other and say and receive our benediction. You are God's child, gifted with dreams and visions. On you rests the grace of God like flames of fire. Love and serve the Lord in the wildness of your being. Practice resurrection. May the deep peace of Christ be with you. The strong arms of God sustain you, and the glory of the Holy Spirit shine upon you. Amen. Also, thank you to Sarah for the delicious color coffee you brewed up for us this morning. Get yourself a refill on the way out.